Hello, people of YouTube. So I'm sorry it took me a while to upload another video, but in all reality, I have 2 subscribers, which are awesome. But so I don't think anyone's been upset about that. But I've been thinking a lot about different things to focus on, and I've decided I want to kind of focus on loneliness and how that not only affects the person who's lonely, but how people around them are able to better help them. And I wanted to start out with a video to kind of introduce this point. It's just a little cartoon I was shown in one of my classes that I feel like does a really good job of explaining what it feels like to be lonely. So we'll just watch a little bit of it. I like how it shows that gray cloud around this person while everything else is in color, because it really kind of shows how alone you feel. Okay. Then this is what I really wanted to focus on. I love the way that they illustrated this because it's something I've never been able to explain, but this video nails it. That you can be talking to someone and it seems perfectly normal. You can have this face, it's like you're really there, you're really a part of the conversation, when all reality inside, this is how you feel. You feel even more alone, you feel even more separated from that person. And it's just not a good time. And it's something that's really hard. Like, you can see the face that they illustrated here, and you just feel very alone. I had a lot of friends when I was in the depths of depression that would try to talk to me, and they just like wanted to be like a normal conversation, which is great. And they would just talk about their life and things that were happening, and it just wasn't super helpful because it was just them talking, and it wasn't something that was really going to help me. Because they were talking, yes, I was responding and like saying things, but I wasn't really there. Like, this illustrates of the being separate. You start to feel even more lonely because you feel like you're not really connecting to that person. They don't understand that there's this cloud around you. They don't understand that you're not on that same level as them. The other thing I wanted to show you is this art that someone did. I don't know who. But I love it because I feel like this so perfectly illustrates what the world sees into what you're trying to give off as to what you're actually feeling. Because you want to be okay. That's whenever people ask you how you are. Like, I got worked up enough about this that I tried to write a poem about it. How much I hate the question of how are you doing or how are you. Because you want to say I'm okay. That's what people expect. They expect you to say, I'm doing good, how are you? Like, that's it. That's how we are like as a society. But in all reality, you're not okay. But you don't know how to tell someone that. Like, I'm sorry, like, I feel awful. I feel like there's this dark cloud around me. Like, you don't want to say that in a conversation because you don't want to be that downer. But for those of you who are suffering who are suffering from loneliness and just feeling that cloud of darkness, there's still hope, I promise. I remember a lot of times when last year when I was struggling a lot with depression, there were times that I could not feel hope. Like, no matter what I do, I couldn't feel it. It just wasn't there. But what kept me going was I had the knowledge that it had to exist. I just knew it had to be there. And so I held on to that until I got to where I could actually feel hope again. So don't be afraid to reach out. I was terrified to talk to people about how I was actually feeling because I felt like everything I had to say was so dark and so down that I wanted to be uplifting. I was always known as a friend that was super positive and just always happy, and like I've never felt sad. Like that's how people thought that I was, because that's a persona I gave off or tried to give off for the majority of my life. And so when all of a sudden I got to the point where I didn't feel happy, it was really hard to be able to work with that. But yeah, don't be afraid to talk to people, because I definitely was. I just was so afraid of dragging people down to where I was, and that's not what you do. Those conversations are important. It's important for someone to know that you're struggling, and even if all that you can tell them at first is, hey, I'm really struggling with this, like, that's okay. That's all that you need to do. And that's okay. Like, if you can't do anything else, have that start of being honest and letting that person know that you're struggling. Now, you don't have to do this with everyone, because there's random people on the street, as we are in a culture, that say, how are you doing? Like, you don't have to be like, oh, I have crippling depression. Like, that's not what I mean. I mean to find a friend, a family member, someone that you can trust to talk to and just say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Okay, and so for those of you who have friends that are struggling with these things, I want you to remember this image. I want that to be something that is like burned in your mind, because that's something that we all feel and we don't know how to express, and this picture does it, and it's beautiful, and I love everything about it. Because when you have those conversations with the person who's lonely, make sure that they're involved. Because a lot of times we're just kind of there. And we'll respond and we'll act like we're listening, but really we're not. Really we're here. We're thinking about how lonely we are. We're thinking about how we feel worse as you talk to us. And that's not your fault. Like, don't feel bad for that. That's why I'm making this video. But make sure that any conversations you're having are equal. Like, that no one's dominating the conversation, but instead you're able to both talk together. You're able to both, I mean, it doesn't even need to be about their struggles, just something that you get to talk to them about, and to be able to have that time to really communicate. And to where they know that you care for them. Like, we can tell if you're trying to force your love upon us, and we can tell if you're acting like you're walking on, like, eggshells or whatever people say. We can feel that, and it makes us feel worse, but just truly, truly show your love for that person. It shouldn't have to be anything that you do or say. It's just you being able to come in and talk to them, and them knowing that you truly care. But that's all I'm going to do for this video, because I'm already getting kind of long. But if you have any other further comments or questions on it, just put in the comments below. I would love to get more feedback. I have lots of other ideas for videos, but in all reality, it's much better when I know I'm talking about what you guys want me to talk about. But I hope that you have had a wonderful Sunday, and I will see you next time.